So hello everyone, I'm Alexandre Bétourné. I'm Scientific Director for the Rare Disease Cures Accelerator Data and Analytics Platform, or RDCA-DAP. And I'm going to present to you today our engagement in outreaching to rare disease data, communities, and stakeholders, and outreaching activities that is intended to increase the data content of the RDCA-DAP and in driving solutions for rare disease. The RDCA-DAP effort started late 2019 under the inception of Jane Larkindale, who left earlier this year. Our new director's name is Jeff Barrett. The team also includes Klaus Romero, Chief Scientific Officer at the Clinical Path Institute, Sam on communications, Sydney, our Senior Project Manager, Kelsey, our coordinator, and of course myself. But it also includes our extensive family, including c-path Data Collaboration Center and our partner on this program, the National Organization for Rare Disorders. Rare disease data are really diverse, can come from different sources, industry, biotech foundations. Data is also located worldwide and can be very dispersed. Data is often siloed and can be confidential in a company. It's often unused, it can sit in a vault, and nobody has access to it. So outreach in the context of RDCA-DAP means finding the data and finding who owns the data, who is the custodian of this rare disease data. For us, our data is valuable. Industry data is really rich in samples of great quality, but sometimes taken in too short periods of time. Registry or natural history data is more patient-centered and taken during longer durations, but really all data are valuable to us. But unfortunately, there's no rare disease data Rolodex, so you need really to find who owns the data. It's a very involved effort, and it's very time-consuming. And to give you an idea, the Clinical Path Institute has a database for Duchenne dystrophy, which was started before the RDCA-DAP program, and it took more than 3 years to get 20 data sets. So it's taking a very long time, and the outreaching is still ongoing for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. We want to use the rare disease data that we acquire at RDCA-DAP to drive solutions. Rare disease drug development is facing many challenges. A lot of trials are failing because of a missed endpoint. Some regulatory dossiers are being rejected, and really we want to use the data that we acquire to drive solutions and provide evidences to help with rare disease drug development. Before starting the outreaching activity, NORD and RDCA-DAP conducted a series of focus group meetings with patient advocacy organizations to discuss with patients and communities and understand what was the concern on data sharing, what was the concern on privacy, on data security. Really, we wanted to understand their point of view on data and the RDCA-DAP program, and it was really critical for us to understand this before starting the outreaching of the RDCA-DAP and learning how to best conduct the RDCA-DAP program. With 7,000 rare disease, it's really a lot of potential rare disease data that we can go after. And so there are many ways to conduct the outreach. And I'm going to show you how I'm currently driving the outreaching. And I'm really going toward greater collaborative approaches that I feel will be better in acquiring more data for RDCA-DAP. First, the program is itself doing some outreaching. So before starting the outreaching, we discussed and try to define and list a series of rare disease with a high unmet need, just as a non-limiting starting point to start somewhere. With 7,000 rare disease, you need to start somewhere. So when I work in outreaching on the disease space, I list all the key stakeholders. What are the major foundations, registries, associations? What are the critical clinical trials that have been completed, and which companies conducted these clinical trials? And then I'm trying to find the contacts, listing all the contacts. Especially I'm trying to find clinicians' contacts and patient advocacy persons within companies and biotech. And then I start an emailing campaign and follow up with conference calls. More and more, I am trying to drive a more community-driven approach to outreaching. I collaborate with foundations and associations on the outreaching activities. For example, a foundation can make introduction for me to people that they know have data that they could potentially share to us. But sometimes I let them drive the outreaching effort, and they themselves engage with their network, inform their stakeholders on RDCA-DAP and the need to share data to RDCA-DAP and what's the utility. We also split activities on these efforts in landscaping their disease space and finding the key stakeholders that we need to contact. We also can leverage our partnership with Nord. They have really an extensive engagement and experience engaging with rare disease communities. And we are planning with Nord a series of meetings that would be focused on rare disease space, where we will bring multiple stakeholders at the table to discuss unmet needs, data sharing, and data solutions for a rare disease, a given rare disease. Finally, a lot of this data sits within the industry, so we need to engage with the industry. We have a long history at c-path in engaging with the industry. A lot of biotech and pharma are actively sharing data to the institute, so we can leverage these connections, but we also need to build new connections with biotech specifically involved in the rare disease space. And for that, again, it's really key to know and who can be a great advocate for you within a company. Most often try to find a patient advocacy person that can help you in promoting the RDCA-DAP effort within their company. Education is also very important. RDCA-DAP is holding webinars, and we are presenting at meetings on a regular basis. We are also publishing about our work in peer-reviewed journals. And also Nord is conducting similar activities to help promote the effort and drive more data sharing to the RDCA-DAP. Another way to build our database is to build collaborations. We really want to be a partner and not a competitor. As a nonprofit, this is how we are seeing things, and we are actively building a big network of collaborators in the rare disease ecosystem. That includes private platforms, private data companies, but also registries or rare disease consortia. To name a few of our early and ongoing collaborations, we're discussing data sharing or pilot analytical solutions, or maybe just holding simple technical discussions with patient-centered companies such as RareX, Allstripes, or Citizen. But we're also discussing with CBI at the Mass General Hospital or Pulse Infoframe, another rare disease data company. We're also developing cross-platform data sharing to increase our data content. For example, we are working on having a mutual data sharing with the clinical trial platform Vivly. We are also developing mutual sharing of data with the IAM-Rare registry for Nord. We built an interface called API that will allow data sharing between IAM-Rare and the RDCA-DAP and a crosstalk of the two platforms when the RDCA-DAP opens. And you will learn more about this API during the workshop. Finally, we are building new capacities to increase our data content, including trying to build a greater connectivity to electronic health records of patients worldwide and potentially finding undiagnosed patients. And this is being developed through collaboration with Clinarium. The next few slides really are designed to show you the breadth of our outreaching activities throughout the last year. And you really can see a counting of all the webinars, phone calls, conference calls, emails that we conducted for a year. And that yielded to a total of more than 2,000 different individuals that were contacted by RDCA-DAP and myself. And you can see on the next slide who were these contacts. More than 30% were foundations, and then a lot of them were industry persons from biotech or big pharma, about 21%. Then we contacted a lot of scientific, researchers and scientists, and also clinicians that work in academia or in treatment centers. We also contacted a lot of data companies. As I mentioned, RDCA-DAP is a place for all rare disease, and really I'm just showing you all the different categories of rare disease that we are engaged in discussions with. We talked with all these communities. So we are discussing solutions for lysosomal storage disorders, neurodegenerative disease, neurological disease, epilepsies, liver disease, blood disease. Really, there's no limit. And that translates, as you can see on these slides, in an involvement and discussions at the moment in more than 100 different rare diseases. So really, there is no limit in terms of who we want to work with and all the solutions that we want to drive for rare disease. And you can see here just a glimpse of all these rare diseases that we are discussing at the moment at RDCA-DAP. All these outreaching efforts have been successful, and the RDCA-DAP current database includes more than 18 different rare diseases with more than 50 studies, accounting for more than 30,000 patients' individual records. Just to name a few of the rare disease for which we have data. We have data for Duchenne dystrophy and Friedreich's ataxia, rare neurological disorders such as tuberous sclerosis. We have data for rare epilepsies. We also have a lot of data from registries, including I Am Rare from Nord, with more data on the way thanks to the API. And since the platform will open to the public after this workshop, you'll be able to go create a login and really scroll to our data content to be more informed and learn about the data content of the RDCA-DAP database. And we are always negotiating DCAs, and so we have more data on the way, and we are going to continue to build upon this database throughout the next year. RDCA-DAP is not intended to be another data silo. It's really the opposite. We want to use this data to drive solutions. So we're going to share some of the data that we have in the database to scientists through the platform that is opening after the workshop, so that we will help them drive solutions for rare disease, but we are also driving solutions internally. And I'm listing here just a few of very early pilots that we are developing. For example, we will work on evaluating the data from a new questionnaire that was developed by the Foundation of Prader-Willi Research. We're also exploring the possibilities of cross-disease discovery in GNE myopathy. So we have a lot of data from Duchenne and other neuromuscular disorder, and there's really a potential for us to leverage this data to inform other neuromuscular disorders, such as GNE. We are also having early discussions on a pilot analytical work for progressive supranuclear palsy, but we also have more advanced analytical work conducted for Duchenne muscular dystrophy, including clinical trial simulation tools, but also models of disease progression for Friedreich's ataxia, and you will learn more about these two work during the workshop. Other ways to help rare disease communities. Really, we see our data contributors are collaborators, and we want to help them and collaborate with them. We can provide feedback on registry data collections to help registries improve their future data collections, collect better data in the future. We can drive discussions on data standards. We can also leverage other competencies within the Critical Path Institute, including helping on patient-reported outcomes and clinical outcome assessments through the dedicated consortia that we have at the Institute. We can leverage other members of our Institute experience in building models of disease progressions and developing drug development tools. We can also help with regulatory engagement. The FDA entirely funds the RDCA-DAP, and really we have experience in communicating with the FDA and facilitating discussions with them. Finally, I want to give a big thank you to all the early adapters and contributors of the RDCA-DAP. Everyone that is listed here, really a big thank you for understanding and really believing in the project very early. And also I want to thank to all the communities that I'm currently discussing with. You are amazing, and I'm really looking forward to more conversations with you. We need to continue the work. We need to build upon this database. So if you're an industry member with data that you think you might be willing to share, if you are a registry interested in connected with the RDCA-DAP, if you're a data company that wants to collaborate, please do contact us at this email. Finally, we have a poll. If you're interested in joining the RDCA-DAP effort, please complete these questions online. Thank you.